Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Diverse Goddess. It's Hannah, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about scapegoated children on a global level, missing children, and what do LA fires have to do with it. So keep watching. So I was actually going to wait to talk about the scapegoated children on a global level till later or further down the road, but since the LA fires happened this week, I feel very compelled to talk about it. Now, I also want to mention and stress that everything I'm about to talk about or share is allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, and it's my opinion, and that's it. I'm just a random woman on the internet. So I just want to make that clear. Also, I am not a psychic, I'm not a medium, I don't channel. I do get a lot of visions or messages in my dreams sometimes, and I am very intuitive. I do have eyes, and I'm very perceptive. That much I will say, but I do not declare myself a psychic or anything like that, so don't ask me to do psychic readings or anything like that. But anyway, I oftentimes do get visuals or messages when I sleep. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but I think it's because when we sleep, we turn our conscious mind off and we can have access to other parts of our brain. So with that said, I'm just going to share what some visions and messages I've gotten in my dreams. But anyway, my prayers go out to anybody who lives in LA or who has family in LA. I hope everybody's doing okay. I know this is a very hard time for a lot of people, so again, my prayers go out to everybody. But regarding the LA fires, I was shown, like I said, in my dreams where I can visually see it. Sometimes like I'm actually shown it almost like it's almost like a movie sometimes where I can visually see it, or other times it's just that like I get the information via like somebody talking to you, like it's just words. Not that someone is literally talking to me, but like the information will come in that way. I either see it visually like a movie almost, or I just hear it in terms of words. But anyway, the LA fires. I was told and shown that the LA fires weren't necessarily a natural disaster. I don't know if that's what they say caused it, that it was a natural disaster. I'm hearing that it wasn't necessarily a natural disaster, and the powers that be, or the invisible powers that we don't see, they have a device of some sort or technology of some sort that can make fires happen where they want to make them happen, and I'm not sure what this device is. The same way with the heavy winds, because I think they said something about there was like a lot of heavy winds, and why the fire was able to spread so quickly was through the wind. They also have a device that can control the wind. And I also have a feeling, because I was shown New York City will most likely be on fire. And again, this is all allegedly. I'm just a random woman on the internet. But I do feel that NYC there will be some fires that will happen in NYC, and I'm not shown like timelines or anything like that, but in due time NYC will also be on fire. But what does this have to do with children? Well, what this has to do with children is that I was told that this is very similar to what happened in Maui, because I believe Maui was on fire not too long ago as well. And whatever happened in Maui regarding children is the same thing that's happening in LA, or it's connected at least. And it's connected because both have to do with children. Again, I'm shown a lot of children. We need to bring awareness to the children, and I'm being asked to ask the collective, meaning you guys and everybody else, that everybody needs to start asking about the children. What about the children? And regarding the LA fires, I was also told and shown that the location is very intentional, just the same way that The Maui fires were very intentional, and when the NYC fires happened, again, allegedly, when they happen in the future, it's also very intentional. But these fires have a dual purpose. Meaning on one hand, it's to hide something. I don't know if it's hiding children, moving children, but it's to hide something. And that, like I said, it's a dual purpose. So on the other hand, it's to bring light and awareness to something. And it's almost like sources saying, yes, everything done in the dark is going to be brought to the light. And it's bringing your attention literally to the light. And sources basically saying, how much more light do you need? I set the world on fire, basically, almost. Or in this case, it's a very specific location. But it's a specific location for a reason. It's very intentional. And the location and why the fire started where it is what needs to be asked. Like, people need to start asking the real questions. And so, yes, the fires is there on one hand to hide something, to cover up something, to get rid of something, but it's to bring your attention. This is the opportunity. It's an opportunity to bring your awareness to something very, very vital and very important. And so again, sources asking, how much more light do you need in order to get the collective's attention? So what does this have to do with anything like the LA fires and children? Well, children are the scapegoats of the world. If it's one thing that the world hates more than women, it's that it hates children. And so women, again, not to go into detail on this topic right now, but women were taken out of power, and women are so scapegoated so hard because if you get the woman out of the way, you have access to her children. So this all leads to children, and children are the scapegoat. They're the ultimate scapegoats of the world. And like I mentioned, I was going to wait to talk about the children on a global level later or further down the line, but something in my gut just told me that I need to talk about it now. But with that being said, I've also mentioned before that there is a spectrum of being scapegoated, right? There's less extreme versions of being scapegoated, and then there's extreme versions of being scapegoated. Well, I want to bring attention to an extreme version of scapegoated children. So an extreme case of a scapegoated child is the case of little JonBenet Ramsey. And the reason why I want to talk about her case in particular, because I could talk about a lot of other public children, and I will in the future, but I wanted to talk about JonBenet Ramsey because it was about a month ago that I got a vision or a message about her case in a dream, and I wanted to talk about it because she is an extreme case of being scapegoated. And if anybody doesn't know who or what the little JonBenet Ramsey case was about, it was basically she was a beauty pageant child, and she got murdered, or she was killed on Christmas in 1996, and apparently her case never got solved. But she is an extreme version of being a scapegoated child because she literally was sacrificed. She literally was unalived. So what I was shown in my dream, and again, everything is allegedly for entertainment purposes only, but again, I'm going to share what I was shown because it makes a lot of sense, and these things really do go on. But I do have to say it's allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. Don't come for me. But what I was shown was, like I said, they apparently don't know who killed JonBenet, or it's an unsolved case. But in my dream, what I was shown is that they know very well who killed JonBenet. And not only do they know very well who killed JonBenet, it's on tape. And what I mean by it's on tape is that her killing or her unaliving was filmed. And so there is a tape of that out there. And these type of tapes where they SA children on film and then unalive them, there's a certain name for those type of films, and there's a certain niche or market for these films. And so I was shown that these tapes are out there. And not only the tape of her unaliving, but she had other tapes And again, those other tapes before her unaliving are also called a certain thing. And there was a lot of them. And again, there's a market for that as well. And her family was very involved in this circle, and they ran in a certain circle. And this goes to the very top. So these films that I'm talking about, of course, the general public is probably never going to see them because they are exclusive for the very, very tippy top. This goes to the highest you can go, basically. And I'm not exactly clear on whether or not her unaliving tape was intentional, but it almost feels like it was kind of bound to happen, meaning the other tapes that she made prior to the unaliving tape were always happening, and they were going on for a long, long time with this little girl. And those were always going to happen, and they were making money from these tapes. But the unaliving, again, I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it was bound to happen because it just kind of was. It just kind of was escalating to that level. And so that unaliving tape that they have is out there, and that one went for a lot of money. And again, it was exclusive, and it goes to the very, very top. But what I was shown as to why she was given so much media attention is that it was a form of advertisement, meaning those in the know, when they would see it on TV or on television, basically, it was to alert them that this film was out there. So it was a form of advertisement. So yeah, she was given so much media attention because it was a form of advertisement. And I've mentioned before that not everything in this world is what it appears. And this case is an example of that. Meaning, if you look at these two images here, and what does it say? One says the death of a little princess and the murder of a little beauty queen. Now, these titles, if you will, they look like they're just covering the news. But really what they are is that it's almost as if they are the name or the title of the video, that specific video of her unaliving. So it was an advertisement and alerting those in the know or that would want those videos, that know about this and the way they communicate with each other. I'm being shown they communicate with each other this way. They will know where to go to get it, and it's almost like saying, this video is out now, come and get it type of thing. And as I mentioned, she had other videos before her unaliving videos, and I think you can all imagine what those type of videos were. They were not appropriate videos. But those videos were very popular, and her beauty pageants, I was shown, was almost like also a form of advertisement. It was to put her on display, to show her to, again, those in the know. And I think most people have in their gut reaction, they have a certain feeling about child beauty pageants and it doesn't sit well with them. And the reason why is that everybody's gut reaction is correct about it. It is what people are afraid that it is. It is for pedos, or it is to put children on display for people who have a predilection for children. And not only is it to put them on display, I'm showing it's a form of auction almost. Or not almost, it is an auction. And so it's to put them on display right there in the public. But again, they're for a certain market. They're for a certain clientele. Because this thing has many, it's almost like a web, if you will, because I'm shown like a cobweb almost in this vision. And there's different niches, there's different markets, there's different clients, if you want to call them that, and they all have different preferences. Well, the beauty pageant world, and JonBenet, she fits a certain niche. And so she was top tier for this specific niche. And so, yes, she was being auctioned in these beauty pageants. Anyway, the other reason why I wanted to share or talk about JonBenet Ramsey's case is because, like I said, this does happen to many children. The beauty pageant world was just like one part or one section of the entire whole of things going on, but also that this little girl needs some justice. And I do feel at some point her case will be solved, like this will come to light. And people will see it for what it really is, not just her case, but other cases. And I was also told that her life or her coming onto the planet was specific, meaning she was put onto this planet specifically to bring attention to the beauty pageant world. And not just the beauty pageant world, but what's going on with children in general in the world. This keeps going in and out. But anyway, she did do that. She did bring a lot of attention. However, people are not asking the right questions, because all the coverage and all the media attention that she's gotten, because she did fulfill her destiny, I don't know what you want to call it, her purpose. And unfortunately, she did pay for it with her own life to do that. But she did bring attention to it. But all the information that we've been given and all the media attention that's covered it has all been misinformation and distraction. And so people are not asking the right questions. Again, I think people realize that this little girl was most likely abused behind closed doors and stuff like that, and she was. But again, it's connected to something much larger and much deeper. And again, that's what people need to uncover. And that's what she paid her life for, to bring attention to the truth, not the distractions and not the misinformation. And I also want to mention again that yes, everything in this world is not always what it appears. And so like I showed those two images of her, that to the public it looks like one thing. Again, everything, it's almost like everything has dual purpose. On one hand, it looks like it's just news coverage, but on another hand, it was a form of advertisement. And so people really need to, again, start seeing things for what they really are. Like, we're told one thing, but really start to see what are they really showing us, because they are televising things right in front of our faces. We just don't always know what it means. And people need to start not only asking the right questions, but to start to see things for what they really are. Anyway, I will end there with the JonBenet Ramsey case. But again, children are the scapegoats of the world. So let's talk more about the missing children. And again, this is also, again, not everything is what it appears. So let's talk about the missing children. Now, this vision, again, in a dream that I had was a few years ago that I had this. So it's been a while since I've kind of understood this. But if you remember back in the day, we had, when children went missing, they went on milk cartons. So what's going on with the missing children on milk cartons? So the missing children, like I said, I was shown this in a dream, and again, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. The children on missing milk cartons were also a form of advertisement. Now, if you remember, what was on the milk cartons? There was a picture of the child and also their stats, like how old they were, how tall they were, their hair color, their eye color. Before there was the internet, they were able to advertise children on missing milk cartons. And that might also, I don't know, just right now I'm just thinking of the Got Milk commercials. I don't know if there's some connection there, but something in my gut tells me there is. But the children on the missing milk cartons were also advertisements. And there was a dual purpose, again, with the kids on the milk cartons. On one hand, it acted as if these children were missing, and that the system we live in cares about your missing children. But they don't. They don't. Again, allegedly. So that was one purpose. The other purpose was that it was, yes, indeed, an advertisement for those in the know. And I believe there was a number that you could call, like you could call in if you saw this child somewhere. You could call it in and give the person information, even though they knew where the child was. But really that number, again, what I was shown is that they call this number, and if you're in the know, and I was shown, like, they say a code or something, like, say you call the 1-800 number, whatever the number is, and the other person on the line, you know, picks up and they say the specific code. It could be a color, it could be a saying, or it could be, you know, whatever it is, whatever the code is. Let's say it's red, and they call the number and they say, "Hi, red." And so the person goes, "Oh, this person knows what's up." And because they know what's up, they then direct them to another caller to basically, eventually they'll end up with the child. And so there's this whole system within that system to collect a child. And back then they did it through, that was one way of doing it. Again, beauty pageants, milk cartons, back in the day before there was internet, that was just one way that they did it. And sometimes they will change the form in which they do it. Like back then it was milk cartons. Now they can go straight to the internet because people upload their child's picture all the time. But there's always many ways, or they can keep moving the way the form comes in. But back in the day, that was one form. And so that's another example of everything is not what it appears. So yes, they not only talk in code when they call each other, but they talk in code through the advertisements, meaning through symbols, colors, numbers even, I think. But anyway, they talk in code. And so anyway, eventually they have a way of getting to the specific child that they're looking for. And these children oftentimes, unfortunately, are also unalived, and most of the time they're also filmed. But anyway, I know this is not always an easy topic to talk about, even for myself. It's very upsetting and it's very sad, but it does need to be talked about because, like I said, the children are the ultimate scapegoats of the world. And right now, a lot of people might be thinking, oh, well, I protect my child, or my child's safe, so therefore it doesn't affect me. Well, I hate to say this, but what I am shown is that at some point it is going to affect you. So you might not feel it's personal now, but it's going to be personal. And I've used this analogy before, but it's like mold or a virus in a refrigerator, mold in a refrigerator. You can, let's say it starts and there's a little bit of mold in the corner and you throw a towel over it and you ignore it. Yes, in that specific situation, it's just a little mold in the corner and it's not touching you and it's not affecting you. However, let's say you ignore it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and let's say on the 10th year you come back and all of a sudden the mold is not just in that one corner, it's now the entire refrigerator. And so it might not be your child now, but the way the system and those at the very, very top are operating and are situating things, it's eventually going to be your child. So it might not feel personal now, but it's going to be personal in due time. Maybe not in your lifetime, you know, depending on how old you are. But if we don't become aware of these things now, that is what's going to happen. It's eventually going to be everybody. And not only that, but we are all one, whether people understand that or not. So you might have your own child who's directly your child, but every child on this planet is yours because we are all one. And I will talk about we are all one and what that really means in more detail in another video, because I think sometimes we hear that and we're like, oh, we're all one, like, yeah, it sounds nice, but it's true. And so every single child on this planet that is going through what JonBenet Ramsey went through, or what some of these missing children went through, or what's going on with the LA fires, like I said, in my vision, there's children involved somehow. They are your children because we are all one. And so it should matter to you. It should matter. All the children matter, and children eventually become adults. So children are our future. So they matter. And so if people don't start to wake up And if people don't start to ask questions, the real questions, the hard questions, and demand answers, real answers, not distractions, not misinformation, but real answers as a collective, because this is a collective issue. And only on a collective level can this problem and this issue, or this virus, if you will, be solved. But I'm also told that the first step is that everything needs to be brought to light. So that is the first step, is to shine a light on these things. And not only shine a light on it, but again, bring attention to it. And like I said, those LA fires, how much more light do you need? How much more attention do you need to bring to a subject? It's literally on fire. How bright can that light be? And so that is the first step, is to really demand answers. And then once collectively people are all on the same page and become aware of these things collectively, and once that happens, then we can find solutions. I was told the solutions will come once people start to see things for what they really are, collectively. Now, individually, people see things for what they really are, and individually, people will understand things faster than, say, some other people, but collectively, the solutions will come. And right now, there are some people who do have solutions and they're already acting, but in the future, people will start to come together collectively with a collective solution. So right now, it's about just bringing things into awareness. But anyway, I have been shown other visions, or I've gotten other messages when I sleep, and I will share them with you guys, and I do want to share them with you guys, but I think that's enough for today. But I did, everything that I talked about today and everything that I shared is just what it feels like to be a scapegoated child on an extreme level, meaning on the outside, something might look one way, but behind closed doors, or what's really going on, is something else. Like in the case of JonBenet Ramsey, it looked like she had the perfect life. I mean, she was beautiful. Her family was beautiful. She had a lot of wealth. She ran in high society. So everything looked very picture perfect. But the reality is that the little girl was going through hell. And this is how also narcissists and sociopaths operate. They operate with a mask or a cover. Like I said, with the children on the missing milk cartons, that was a cover. And that cover was to look like that they showed concern for the missing children, or that they cared for the missing children, or they had no idea where they were. But in truth, or the reality, is that they knew where the children were, and something nefarious was going on behind that cover or that facade. The same way when they gave a lot of media attention to JonBenet Ramsey, it was a form of advertisement. And again, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. But that is what's going on in our world on a larger scale. There's a lot of things going on that look one way, but something else is going on. And so everything done in the dark needs to come to the light. And the same thing with the LA fires. Like I said, I was just shown that there's children are involved somehow, and so we need to, the fires were to bring attention to what's really going on. And again, how much more light do you need to have shed on a situation than kind of to set the world on fire? So we really need to be asking the right questions. We need answers, and we need to start to see things with our eyes wide open and not wide shut. But in the meantime, too, we all need to be supportive of each other, help each other if you can and when you can. Take care of yourself, take care of your children, protect your children, really, really protect your children. So on that note, I'm actually going to end today's video, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!